Yep.
I'm alive.
You're here.
Kind of alive.
Yeah. Sort of. We're recording. It's live. It's like, have you ever seen football and stuff like that? They say live delayed telecast.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is what we're doing.
Yeah.
We're live delayed telecast. Portions unedited. We're getting us pretty much live and dangerous, just not quite there. But yes, hello. I'm probably going to leave that in because, you know, live dangerous.
Yeah, why not?
Why not? Great introduction. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Nuts and Bolts. It's been a couple of weeks, and it feels good to be back.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the second time back in the studio for me,
Yeah, well, I feel like I've missed out because, like, we've had Dreamhack since the last episode of Nuts and Bolts, and for those that don't know, and this is Mercury. He's Valorant caster and caster extraordinaire. You do all sorts of stuff, don't you?
Valorant, League of Legends, all that jazz.
Yeah. So he's joining us again here for Nuts and Bolts. Hopefully ongoing for a while. It's just so that we can use this wonderful studio that we've got here. Why not? That does mean, unfortunately, that Natty will be stepping back from Nuts and Bolts, which as unfortunate it is. I had a great time with Natty and catching up with her at PAX last year and Dreamhack just recently as well. It's been so good, and I'll definitely miss out my Wednesdays with Natty there. But also very happy to have you on board too, Mercury, to go through some amazing esports events. So let's start with the World of Tanks ANZPL. So they are currently in their playoffs. Week 1 of playoffs happened last week, and not super surprising, I'll say. The first game was very close. So normal season, it's best of 4 with a tiebreaker. So you do an attack and defend on one map and then attack and defend on another map. If someone's up 3 or 4 games, then that's it, you call it a win. If not, you go to a tiebreaker and you get points for a tiebreaker win or a tiebreaker loss as well. So, but in terms of the playoffs, it's do or die. So it's a best of 7 series, and the first game between the Adelaide Action X and the Perth Panthers went right through to that best of 7 series. And I'm happy to say personally, the Perth Panthers came out 4-3 winning there, so went all the way to the tiebreaker map there, which is amazing to see. And considering the season Action X have had as well, like they were 1 game away from finishing on top of the ladder. And the way the playoffs are working this year is that the team that finished first gets the first week of playoffs off and go straight to the second week, which in this case was the South Sydney Scorpions that ended up finishing on top. But it was a shock loss that Action X had to the team that ended up finishing last, the Wolverines, that forced them out of first spot and let Scorpions take the top spot there. So, but they're definitely a tough team, and seeing the Panthers come up against them and beat them in the upper bracket final, what is essentially the upper bracket final, to Adelaide get a second chance. Okay. They don't go straight out, which is nice. But it does mean with also the way the finals are working. So the grand final for the ANZPL is happening on the 27th of May at Fortress Sydney. But also the third place match is happening as a curtain raiser for there as well. So it means that no matter what, Perth are going to a LAN event, which is nice. Do like to see that. So that's very nice. And of course, the second game of the night was between, I don't know how many time reigning champs. They've been there for forever. The North Sydney Sentinels versus the Melbourne Matildas, which the Matildas are a bit of a surprise packet. They brought in a fair amount of new players this season, and I think kind of surprised everybody early on, beating the Scorpions and also the Sentinels in the single round robin that they had leading into the playoffs here. And kind of a reverse surprise, I guess, is the Sentinels, who finished 5th in the end and only just scraped through into playoffs. But I do kind of wonder there whether they're just, gaming a bit, because 5 of the 6 sides were going to play playoffs, and I don't know. Part of me kind of just wonders that maybe that they were going, we know we're going to get, and all we have to do is like beat the Wolverines and they'll get through, and then they'll be saving all their best strats for now. So, admittedly though, like it was a 4-2 win, so it was still reasonably close. So I'm not sure how true that might be. So fingers crossed the next week's matches. So this coming Friday we'll have Adelaide Action X up against the North Sydney Sentinels, and the Scorpions versus the Panthers. So whoever wins out of the Scorpions and the Panthers goes straight into that grand final match.
Oh, wow.
Yep. So very, very exciting. Cannot wait to see what happens there. So fingers crossed, Friday, 7 o'clock Australian Eastern Standard Time. You get to see that live on twitch.tv/World of Tanks ANZ. Whew, so that's just some World of Tanks stuff. Get that straight off the bat. And now, I know we're a little late to the show, but I feel we got to talk about Dreamhack because for those that don't know, I came back from Dreamhack with COVID. It was not pleasant. And just trying to keep my distance here because I've still got a bit of a cough, even though I'm past the isolation stages. Still got a bit of a cough, so I don't want to spread that around. But my God, how good was Dreamhack?
I love it. Nothing beats live esports.
Oh hell no! And like it was my first time in front of a CS:GO crowd as well.
Oh really?
So yeah, and I don't think I really watched a game on the first day. On the Saturday, apart from what I could hear from the back end of the LCO arena when they had their grand final going on. But my God, they're a rowdy bunch, but they're just fun. That's the best way I can describe it. Yeah,
and the Brazilians weren't even there this year.
I will say, because I do remember, was it a major that happened in Brazil? And when the Brazilian team got knocked out, that was it. There was no crowds there. Unfortunately, Greyhound Gaming, who were the local hopefuls for OCE, did get knocked out in one of the semi-finals.
It was so close.
It really was. They got beaten by Bad News Eagles. So Bad News Eagles played Movie Star Riders in the grand final there in the ESL Challenger. But that crowd, it was still there. It's like even though Greyhound weren't there, there weren't a local team in there anymore. The crowd was just electric. All the chants going up and beach balls. Like I haven't seen beach balls at an event for God knows how long.
Yeah. And like that was one thing that the finalists said in the interview at the end was, huge props to the crowd. And this is my second Dreamhack. Last year's was my first, and as someone who has watched esports from behind the screen for 8 years, nothing beats it, and it never gets old.
No,
never gets old.
It's just so good, and just I've always been one of those people because I like my sports as well. Big AFL fan. I like watching the cricket and all that sort of stuff too, but I don't like watching it on TV unless I'm like at a pub or at the game itself. Like I don't just like sitting there watching, because if I yell at people, I like for them to be able to hear me, or at least somebody acknowledge what I'm yelling about, And being in a crowd that was just that big, that amazing, it felt so good.
Oh yeah. Everyone was loving it. The casters, the analysts that were off in Stockholm, they were loving it. And I just gotta say, I go along with the chance. Give us the major.
Oh hell yeah! Definitely give us a bloody major.
If we got a major, it would just be like whatever. If any of you in chat went to Dreamhack, it's gonna be that times like 15.
Oh yeah. Can you surely that would have to be? I don't know. Like, would you still try and hold if we got a major? Would that still be at like Rod Laver Arena? You reckon?
I think it would probably be in Sydney. Ooh. They held a lot of IEM Sydneys back in the day.
Okay, fair enough.
So,
and I mean, there's like Homebush Stadium and a few others like that around. So, yeah, it definitely wouldn't be somewhere like Fortress Sydney. That's too small a venue for something like that. But it would be amazing to see. Yes, but definitely give us a bloody major. Come on, let's go. So exciting.
And hope they listen to us.
Well, surely you start seeing stuff like that, and full props to the Dreamhack crew as well, because like you look at it. And it's easy to forget that the last Dreamhack was what, September, October? No,
September.
September last year. So they've thrown this together in less than about 6 months.
Yeah.
And the quality of the event is just amazing. In fact, the only complaint I had about it was the access to the BYOC area, because you couldn't really go down and watch what was happening there. And considering the amount of prize money that was on offer in there, like there was 15 grand tournaments happening in
crazy.
There. It's so being able to get in there and see that would have been a bit nicer, but no, you can't do everything right, can you? You got to have something to improve on. But other stuff that was there, of course, we've got the LCO Grand Final that happened there as well. Congratulations to Chief, our first LCO back-to-back champions as well. It was absolutely stunning to watch, even if the warm-up match was very one-sided. But the TSM, well, they're like an American team, aren't they?
Yeah, so they're Challenger team, which is their Tier 2 team.
Oh, okay, yeah.
But the roster, I mean, it's got Hornser and Svenskeren as the top in jungle. They are legends within the scene, like dating back to the 2016 World Championships.
They've just come for a holiday and go, we'll just play a game of League and get a holiday to Australia.
Yeah, why not?
Let's do it, Yeah, so that, but the LCO Grand Final, it was looking dangerous early on because Chiefs went up 2-0 very quickly. And that kind of belies the game, I think, because there were so many fights that happened in those first two games that were a coin flip, and Bliss could have taken them, and they could have quite easily have been 2-0 up.
Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, credit to Raze, the first pentakill in the LCO finals. Yeah. The curse was broken.
We've been waiting so long for that, and it was just great to see a pentakill finally happen, and to do it on the stage as well. I feel like we got to give props to Bliss here as well. Like they ended up going down 3-1 there, but in a game versus the Chiefs, it could be quite easily to lose your mental game in there. And I tell you what, coming out on stage, they were still excited. Like, why not revving up the crowd as they came out for the third game? And you could see they knew what they had to do and they wanted to win. And I've just been so excited for them as a team to come in as a new roster for this split and be able to dominate as much as they did.
Yeah, well, I mean, they were, I think, probably the most inexperienced roster in the playoff stage. If you compare actual like series and games across the board, and to not only like this was the 5th showing of Bliss versus Chiefs throughout the year. I think it was 2-2 overall, and the last time they faced, it was 2-0 in favor of Bliss. So, I mean, it just goes to show both the prowess of Bliss, and I'm so excited to see them going into next split, but also how much Chiefs learned from going over the PCS and getting it handed to them, but learning from those teams, learning from scrimming in the region, and hopefully we can see better results going into the PCS playoffs for next split.
You mentioned the inexperience in the lineup there. I feel like Lived has been around for a while, but Why Not, I think, has been floating around, but never solid on a lineup. He's been like the backup player for it. And Benvi as well. He was a coach last year for Kanga, I think.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah. And also their coach Calvin as well was with Kanga too, which I must admit I was quite excited because I'm pretty sure Limas came from Kanga as well.
They had a few players from Kanga.
Yeah, and Kanga did really well last year as well. They adapted really well and ended up playing playoffs in Split 2. And to see like that core roster come through to Bliss and bring along that coaching staff and stuff like that, it's just been so exciting to see them, and they'll be back. Even with the sad news that Benvi is stepping back from it, I'm pretty sure he's a Perth boy because I'm pretty sure I saw him on my flight on the way back from Dreamhack. But so it is sad to see that. Yeah. So hopefully they'll have somebody that can step up and fill in that void there that he's going to be leaving.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, there's still a few question marks going to next split. Peace still don't have a buyer as of yet.
Yeah. Well, did they? Do you mean they don't have a buyer for their license?
For their spot. Yeah. Yes, my apologies.
Which is going to be interesting because, like, God, how much money would they have spent bringing those imports in, and then to just go? Well, in fact, it was a right call. Like it was. I think it was the right call. It was basically going to be bringing the game into disrepute because they would have made playoffs. Yeah. And seeing them come through with playing 2 of the 7 round robin games to then get into playoffs, it was ridiculous. And that I feel needs a work around because I don't think that's set. I like the idea of what they were trying to do, but I don't think it was done quite right.
Yeah, in LEC, the European League, they have the same format as us. but there's 10 teams, and,
Yeah.
and only the top 8 progress. So it's a bit difficult. You'd have to do top 6 for us.
Well, I think you can get around with doing it by having an upper and lower group stage. So you still do your round robin at the beginning like you normally do, and then you take those teams, you divide them into top and bottom. Top, like the winner automatically qualifies and goes through, or even maybe the top 2 qualify and go through, and then the bottom 2 play the winner of the lower bracket. And then the 2 winners from those go through to the final. So I think that's a better way of doing it. And then you give the teams that have done well in the round robin that double chance to get through to playoffs, while it's always do or die for the lower group stage team. So I think that's probably a better way of doing it, I think.
Yeah, we'll have to see as the weeks continue to tick. We don't know an exact date for when the Split 2 will launch. But you got to imagine it's probably June, July, so it doesn't leave a lot of time for that final spot to be bought.
Well, hopefully they'll be able to do it a little bit better. I'm going to say this, like the LCO would definitely push for the time frame for being able to work out 2 teams that they were going to send to PCS to qualify there. And then, of course, what would have happened if they did qualify for MSI and we wouldn't have had a grand final at Dreamhack. We would have had more of a show match. With the grand final, we played at a later time, but hopefully with a bit more time now, and Dreamhack's a yearly event, so you were not going to have that. We might have a LAN event at Fortress or something.
Yeah. Well, I mean, who knows? Maybe there's another Dreamhack this year, but we don't have an announcement just yet.
Yeah, well, that would be an interesting thing. 2 Dreamhacks a year. Well, I guess because CS:GO goes all year anyway, so there'll be another ESL challenges that can be done there. So yeah, that would could be interesting. Maybe they might have another Dreamhack. Tell you one thing that I was very excited at Dreamhack that I saw was the Couch Warriors stuff and the fighting game. I don't know if you had much of a chance to sit down and watch that. By God, they was entertaining. Like sitting there watching Smash, because they had a whole heap of different fighting game stuff. So Smash Brothers Ultimate, Guilty Gear. They had I saw a bit of Dragon Ball that was happening there and Street Fighter, but it was just so amazing. And watching it seesaw back and forth as all of a sudden the combo connect and half a life bar disappeared. Oh, it was just great to watch. And not only that, but sitting there next to the fighting stage was all the different fighting games you could try out, and that was really cool. I know Natty and I sat down. I think it was a Street Fighter. Like now, I haven't played Street Fighter since Super Nintendo days, so I was just looking at it and going, okay, well, my go-to here is to go to a familiar character and see what I can do. But I thought, no, let's just try something different and see what goes. Well, no, it worked because I was playing Natty as well, and luckily we were both about the same skill level, so that definitely helped. But but it was just really great to see all that sort of stuff there. And my God, the giveaways. Yeah. I was not expecting Dreamhack RPG. I came home with a Rode mic arm.
Oh wow!
I was a little bit worried that I might win one of those monitors and and sitting there going, "How am I going to get this home on the plane?" Type thing. But it was so cool, so much. I don't think there was one person there that wasn't walking around with one of those little plushy chips from the Intel booth, and but it was just amazing to see, and absolutely adored it. And the little things like scattered around the arena were free play arcade machines. So there was like it's not Just Dance, not a Dance Dance Revolution machine, but one of those around. There's a few pinballs around. There was a Time Crisis, which is my jam. Absolutely love Time Crisis.
You won the racing?
I did. I won. So there was a set of Daytona machines there that myself, Mercury, Morg, who's one of our community members, and a new gentleman I met there called Xander as well, one of Morg's friends. And they had a Daytona for fastest lap. And somehow I won overall, but my lap was nowhere near the fastest time, just because I don't know, I just worked out the corners on those beginnings. No, that's also my jam, man. I remember playing those Daytona games. I don't think I ever actually finished a race, like the time always ran out on me, but I loved it. It was just, the whole thing was so good. I do want to point out whoever's idea it was to get the food truck in the main area well done, because those dumplings were absolutely delicious. Much better than stadium food. And
Oh yeah,
highly
much cheaper probably as well.
I think they were about the same price, but it was much better quality food. It was just so like steamed pork buns and some honey chicken. Oh, so good. Salivating just thinking about it.
Yeah.
But what was your highlight of Dreamhack? If you had to pick one thing.
I don't think I can. The casting panel was very informative and insightful. They had Hysterics, Rusty, Max, and then Elfish and Mac joined in for a little bit. We had a Melg in an Among Us costume, sort of gate crash for a moment, but it was really insightful getting to talk to them and seeing their experiences in the industry and all of that sort of stuff, and being able to converse with them. Obviously, the league finals, CSGO was incredible. I was there pretty much any chance I got. I mean, the crowd's like 85% fun.
Oh, yeah.
Watching, Swagger Souls pulling random things in chests.
Yeah.
Just in the crowd, watching
I remember that.
Take his shirt off.
The bloke there with on his laptop opening CSGO loot boxes live on the freaking on the show floor there. Oh my god, it's such fun. But that's the benefit of live events. You get those moments, and I certainly will never forget them. And I think for me, my highlight's got to be the crowd. And the games were great to watch, no matter where you were, whether it was trying out CS2 in one of the areas that they got there, or watching the fighting games, or the league, or CSGO. It was just the crowds made that, man. It was just so great to see it, and even I was really keen for it before we went over there as well. But seeing the students on the Friday going around, and just seeing that there's teachers out there that are interested to show their kids, look, you can do this. It's a career path if you want to. It's hard work, but it's there if you want to put in the work to do it.
Well, speaking of which, Meta, their high school esports is starting up. I believe it just started up this week.
Oh, nice.
Well. They've got League, they've got Valorant, they've got a few other games as well. So, I've always been a huge advocate for collegiate and high school leagues. I did a fair amount of commentary for QUT and Murdoch and Curtin. So, and I think that's the best pathway to grow, and it's good that it's seeing more investment and eyes as well. Yeah,
amazing. Cannot wait to see more of those collegiate leagues and the grassroots stuff. That's where everything grows, and that's where you find your next batch of players from. You're not going to find them sitting in solo queue. No. So let's move on to some news. So Faze Clan has not been having a good run of things off the esports track. So they went public because it's one of the big things that Natty and I have talked about over a few episodes, and over however long we've been doing this. I think we must almost be up to episode 80 now for nuts and bolts. But and that's how esports can be sustainable. And one of the routes that Faze Clan has tried to go is by becoming a public company, which hasn't worked out for them. Their share price has hit almost, I'd say hit rock bottom, but I'm pretty sure there's still a little bit further it can go.
I think it started at $20 and now it's at 50 cents.
Yeah, and that's always going to be the problem. Like, if you're going to go the investor way in esports, I feel it's going to be very emotional investments. It's going to be the people that really love it that will look at it and go, I'm going to put money in this. It's not going to be the investors that go, I think this is worth money, because let's face it, there is not a lot of money in esports. You can look at stuff like the International for Dota and how much prize money that gets offered up for there, or StarCraft in its heyday and how much money was involved there. But at the end of the day, there is not a lot. Like, what I think Movie Star Riders for winning the ESL Challengers at Dreamhack got 50 grand. Which is a nice amount of money, until you realise that they're a Spanish team that's had to come from Spain to get here with 5 players plus subs plus coaches, and that money starts to disappear pretty bloody quickly. And that's the winner. Like, that's not even talking about the teams that didn't place in the semis or stuff like that. So So yeah, it's not been going well for Faze Clan, and one of their big announcements a while back was that they had Snoop Dogg join their board, and he was going to be doing some content creation. And news has come out this week that Snoop Dogg has stepped back. Which, look, I love Snoop Dogg. Like I still love the meme that he's finished the main quest and is doing all the side quests now, because that is exactly what he is doing. But I know it's unfortunate to see this is the way Faze Clan are going, and I'm worried for them.
Yeah, it is. It is definitely a worrying sign, and not the first in recent times. Obviously,
No.
CLG was in essence absorbed by NRG. TSM is possibly going bankrupt from all the rumors that we've heard. It's really not sustainable.
No. Yeah, you have to find a way to do it. And even in our own backyard last year, we had Order go under, and Order tried to diversify into sort of events organising as well, which probably in the end was a bit of its downfall. But you have to try something, you know. And it's a funny thing talking to some esports people that you don't want to be aiming to have the best team in the league or the worst. If you can hit that middle sort of ground, that's the best place to make money in esports, which sounds silly because you think you want to win. That's how you attract more sponsors and whatnot. But it's how middle ground and finishing middle of the pack is how you kind of still attract some sponsors, but not have the costs of having to go overseas or having to target all the best players and have to pay them more so that you can get a team that qualifies for international events and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's pretty difficult. I think recently as well, BMW announced that they were essentially moving, like getting rid of all of their sponsorships and moving out of esports. They sponsor a fair amount of teams.
Yeah.
There was a huge thing a while ago. I think C9 from America, T1 from Korea, and Fnatic from Europe were all sponsored by BMW and a number of others. But there was this sort of I think it was United in Rivalry was this whole thing, and it was content whenever they faced each other.
Yeah.
And with them leaving now, that's a pretty long sponsor. I mean, they've been around for years.
Yeah.
Leaving.
And it's only going to get worse too as the economy in general goes downwards a bit more, and there's costs are still going up everywhere. Like in Australia, I judge it by Pringles. It sounds a silly thing to say, but I enjoy a can of Pringles, and they were $3.50, $4 about a year ago. Now they're $5, $6, and for them to have gone up that much in the last year or so is crazy, and that's just Pringles. That nothing said about fresh foods and necessities and stuff like that. So yeah, unfortunately, so the belt's going to tighten a bit more for esports, and it will be very interesting to see. And not just esports, like you said, sponsors like BMW tighten the belt as well. And yeah, esports definitely need to have a look at where they can get those revenue streams coming from.
Yeah.
So let's have a bit of a chat, because there's a couple of big events going on at the moment. So there's Blast Paris that's happening for CSGO, which once again our favourite lads there, Greyhound, are currently playing off in that competition. And my God, I caught. In fact, I'm not sure how. I think I was flicking through Twitter and I saw MacMate or something was saying, "Oh, I'm gonna just stream this," and him and Elfish Guy were just sitting there talking shit about it. And at the change at halftime, whatever they call it, Greyhound were down 12-3 or something like that, and you're sitting there going, "Oh, this is I'm not liking how this is going. This is not cool, man, not cool."
Yeah.
But they came back and won. What was it in the? I think it was 16-14 in the end or something like that.
Yeah.
So I forget who their opponents were, but they only took two games in the back half, which is an incredible turnaround from Greyhound. And there was talk that the map that they were playing on was more defensively minded, because I think they switched to counter-terrorists in the second half. And and that definitely showed between the first half and the second half. So good on Greyhound for coming back. Didn't do so well in the second game. We're not really going to talk about that one. Yeah. It was a 16-0 loss.
Yeah.
It was not nice, but they did bounce back after that, and so they are currently sitting 5th in the challenger stages for the Blast Paris there, and very exciting to see.
Oh yeah, I mean they're 2-1 right now. So by the time this is out, you'll know what their results are. But they're up against NIP, which is a pretty storied organization in their match, I believe, tonight. They're currently sitting at 2-1, which is again like tied for 3rd with a number of other teams. Apex, who 16-0'd them. Faze Clan.
Big names in gaming.
Big names.
Yeah.
So we'll have to see exactly if they can take this match. I'm certainly hoping for it. I know a lot of people are. It would be a very exciting showing if so.
Yeah.
And up the hounds.
Let's go Greyhound. And of course, we were talking about it a bit before the show as well. Like, if you want to win an event, you got to win all the games anyway. So you may as well start now, Greyhound. Let's go.
Yeah.
Let's go. And of course, as well, for those that follow League, MSI is also travelling along at the moment. So play-ins has just finished, and one game has happened in stage 2, which is basically your playoff bracket. The PCS representative there did all right, didn't they? They almost made it through to the art of, sorry, when my brain catches up with what I'm actually trying to say. So they did make it to the last chance qualifier, which is the last chance to get into the group stages. Unfortunately, they were beaten there. So that was our region hope. So I'm not quite sure who we're going for at the moment.
Yeah. So for those of you unaware, the MSI Mid-Season Invitational happens every year around the same time. In the past, it's been the top team from every region going to the event. Worlds, as a difference, tends to be the top 3 from major regions. So this is more of a shorter tournament. They've changed around this time to include the 2nd seed from North America, Europe, China, and Korea as well. And you guys can't see it, but we're looking at the stage 1 results right now. Billy, the 2nd seed from China, and G2, the 2nd seed from Europe, have qualified to the main stage, and then Golden Guardians, the 2nd seed from North America, were able to beat PSG Talon in that last chance to qualify to make it. As of the recording of this, Gen G, the 1st seed from Korea, took down the aforementioned G2 in a pretty dominant series. And I'm a little bit biased because Gen G is my favorite team, but excellent results from them across the board. Mad Lions from Europe, the 1st seed against T1, the 2nd seed from Korea, which is tonight for us. By the time this is out, you will already know the results. T1, of course, Faker, the roster that went to the World's Finals last year.
Yeah, so DSG were the team that beat T1, wasn't it? Last season?
DRX.
Oh, DRX. Sorry. Are they in this? Are they in MSI or?
They are not.
They
sort of fell off.
Oh.
Yeah.
I was going to say that's quite a big fall off from from winning Worlds to not getting into MSI. That's a. But it was exciting to see them win. I'll give them that.
Yeah.
So yeah, more MSI stuff. Stay tuned for that, as well as Blast Paris. It's still going on at the moment as well. So keep your eye out for all those results, and any results as well going on. Anything we like, there's always stuff going on. Like you say, the collegiate stuff is kicking off again, and yeah, I just enjoy your esports, celebrate those wins, and yeah, I think that's probably about it for this week. Thank you so much for joining us, Mercury.
No problem.
And yeah, we'll see you next week, and we'll see everybody else next week as well.